I had to make sure I wasn't dreaming when he said what he said. So, but I'm
here, of course, joined with Nick Bodkins of the Bodkins Show. Nick. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is once again Monday night, and it's almost halftime in this Bears-New England game, but we're going to get this show underway here. My name's Tanner Dawson, the Sports Buffoons and Whiskey Sports Podcast, and of course, Let's Talk Sports. Joining me is Nick Bodkins of the Bodkins Show, and of course, Let's Talk Sports. Nick, what's going on, dude?
What's up, man? I mean, who would have thought that halftime it would be 17-14 Bears? New England just turned the ball over. Bailey Zappe's in the game. I mean, I thought this was going to be like the total score, 17-14 New England possibly. This game is – he just fumbled it on the handoff. I mean, wild deal here. Some points being scored here. The Bears find an offense.
I don't know what's going on with this Bears team. I don't get it. I haven't watched much of the game, but the parts I have watched, I have not been impressed by Bill Belichick's team by any means. So hopefully he can get some things together here because it's not a pretty sight right now. So, but anyways, how's your fantasy teams doing?
I went my big money league. I finally bounced back. I told you I was able to heist Joe Mixon, even though Terry McLaurin decided, you want to trade me on my fantasy team, on your fantasy team. I'm going to stick it to you in fantasy because I finally come alive, and then I'm going to stick it to you real hard on your real football team too. So Terry McLaurin got the last laugh in the trade as I traded earlier in the week. I told you I traded Terry McLaurin and Algier for Joe Mixon. I mean, not that Joe Mixon had a bad game, but to watch Terry McLaurin score a touchdown and then catch the game winner against my own team, that was really, I mean, that's in the old poop chute without the lubrication. Yeah, I ain't been hit that hard since I was in the government.
Hey, that's fair enough, dude. That's just a bunch of bad luck happening at once.
But I mean, I did win the game. I did win my league, so that gave me a little, the week at least.
Yeah.
So still one game below 500, but we have a 12-man league where 10 teams make the play. 8 teams make the playoffs. So I'm right at the cusp of the playoffs in there. So still a little bit of ways. Feel good about it. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm kind of floating there. I'm still like in all my leagues outside of the Sports Buffoon one I created out of nowhere last minute. I can't really do nothing with that one because for some reason Jason and Mike thought we were doing a mock draft with 10 people, 12 people, or 11 people, I guess. And so we had like Cam Akers drafted first and everything like that. And I'm like, this is not a doable league. So I think I won the first one last week, and I'm not looking to win another one probably. So a little rough one.
Yeah.
So we got quite the lineup today. Of course, we're gonna be joined by Jim Behringer. We're gonna be joined by Jonathan here in the fourth quarter. We're gonna be talking NFL. We'll kind of start breaking down as we are finishing up week 7 tonight.
Big trades and big moves like happening.
Breaking news, all that jazz happening
all day.
It's insane. So I'll be breaking those down, guys, with you. We'll break down some standings, and then we'll also talk some NHL, look at those standings, get some update from Jim on that, and then maybe some various stuff. We'll see what time we got. And, of course, with Jonathan, we'll be breaking down the World Series matchup that got solidified somehow on the same day. It hasn't happened all playoff series, and now we got on the same day there, even with the Yankees winning at one point. So, but we'll break all that down later. Let's bring in Jim Behringer. Jim, what's going on, dude?
Hey, what's up, boys? How we doing?
Man, week 7 football season, still a long ways to go, and everything else is bouncing up too. So, you can't really be down, I think, at this time.
No,
I am very much down, Tanner. My team is the Packers, and we have lost to the likes of the Giants, the Commanders, and the Jets. We lost to the quarterbacks Daniel Jones. We lost to Taylor Heineke and Zach Wilson.
I'm sorry. I forgot not all of us have winning records here.
Yeah. I was about to say at the beginning of the year, I would have thought my record and Jim's record would have been flip-flopped at best. And yet here we are. the Giants look legit. The Packers look like one of the 5 worst teams in the league. Jim, I mean, we kind of talked it right before the show, man. The Giants are the real deal. Holyfield, man, is what I like to say. They're going to get in. I mean, unless something crazy happens. I know their offensive lineman got hurt, is out for a few weeks. How is that going to affect them going forward?
Yeah, I mean, look, Evan Neal, one of their first round draft picks this year, has been playing really well. Out 3 to 4 weeks with a sprained MCL. That's such a blow to them. He's been playing really well, protecting Daniel Jones on that right side. Though they've been able to plug and play with some other guys as well. So I think that's what they'll just continue to do until Neal's ready to rock and roll again. But, I mean, this Giants team is, they continue to win, running the football, playing good defense. Again, defensive stand yesterday. I mean, remind if people, crowd remembers, Tennessee and St. Louis.
The Rams, yeah, the 1 yard line. Mike Jones played.
Yeah, they did it last night with Jacksonville. It's a typical, typical Giants. Play down to the competition. I know Jacksonville's a better, improved team, but I thought maybe the way the Giants have been playing, they maybe blow the doors off of them a little bit, not make it as close. But again, defensively, the team looks so good right now, and the attitude under Brian Daboll is so different. It's funny how this team is always the underdog in any game. And as I was reading some of the beat reporters, I think the Bayard he's got is up favored by a 1.5.
Yeah, the Giants were dogs, -3 dogs on that Jags game. I was hammering. That was my lock of the week, really. The Giants at +3 over Jacksonville. I mean, they're still doing this with no receivers. Do you see them making a trade or getting a wide receiver? I mean, there's Elijah Moore that once traded. There's DJ Moore that once traded. There's Brandon Cooks out there possibly. You think the Giants are saying, hey, we're 5-1 and we got to go get a guy because, let's face it, Galladay, we're paying him a bunch of money and he absolutely stinks. Tony can't get on the field. I mean, they got to go out and get a receiver, right? I mean, I know they're keep on winning, but here they are. I mean, it's time to make. You think they're going to make a move?
I think they should make a move for a wide receiver. It all depends on a cap situation, on who they can trade. Can they get something for Galladay? Maybe receiver for receiver. I mean, teams are making trades right now. And we saw what the Jets did because of their injury to running back. I think guys are available. Get some receiver. Just get a deep threat to open the field up. Just something, because eventually, I mean, you're considering somebody's going to figure out that they're just going to run the football all the time. And I mean, Daniel Jones can't be out gaining starting running backs in this league. I mean, he's doing it with his feet, timely throws. I get it. Barkley's a beast back there, but they got to figure out how to pass the football too, because winning only goes so far playing a certain way. And I think they can get somebody. I really do. I mean, obviously Robinson's there too. Maybe they try to figure out internally option, but I think they need to go find somebody just to bring in and just have something for Daniel Jones to throw the football to.
I guess so. Odell's not going to be due back till mid-December at the earliest, from what I'm hearing. So would it make sense for the Giants to go out at this point here and go out and spend some draft picks to go get Elijah Moore, a DJ Moore, or something in that matter?
It all depends on what management sees. I mean, they are progressing, and I love all these general managers and say, this is this plan. One general manager in the NHL said it best. It's a year-to-year plan. If your team is doing well, maybe you throw the book out. The Giants are overachieving right now. If this was college football, they'd be bowl eligible. But they're not. It all depends on what the general manager wants to do and what they feel the need is. I mean, maybe if you can get a receiver cheap, maybe not spend a first-round draft pick because they do have other needs that they're going to need to fill. You can go out and get an Elijah Moore, DJ Moore, somebody like that. Or maybe you can find somebody on the cheap. Odell, I don't know if he fits the team right now, what they're doing. I think his attitude would be a problem if he doesn't get the football. And I think they've been down that road before. But maybe there could be other options out there. You just don't know.
I was going to say it's got to be the right fit, right? Like I had somebody hit me up about Robbie Anderson, why he wasn't a Packer. I said because the Packers don't go get guys, head cases like
don't.
Robbie Anderson.
Well, they don't get anybody.
We don't get anybody, but much less a head case like Robbie Anderson. And I mean, Robbie's talent-wise would fit what the Giants need, but I don't think his personality-wise would fit what Brian Daboll's building there. So it's got to be the right fit for the right, I hate to say the cliche culture, but they got. I mean, if it was anybody but the dang Giants and their football helmets didn't say New York, and I didn't hate New York Giants, that would probably be my favorite team to get behind this year because I absolutely love what they're doing.
I'm loving what they're doing because they're exceeding expectations. Nobody really expected this, and they're just going for it, and they're having fun. Like, they're just going out there rallying around their coach. They're rallying around Dable. They want to bring the energy. His energy is great. And when guys make mistakes, he's on their butts about making mistakes. Like, this can't happen. We can't get this. He gets in players' faces. I love it. Like, that's what you want in a head coach. Like, I would go play for this guy.
Yeah, he's literally walking down there telling the defense, get a effing stop to win this game. He's doing that. The Giants, they're winning these close games. I heard a stat today that every one of their wins has been by one possession, so 8 points or less. Like, those are games like years ago, even last year, the Giants lose those games. Like, and here they are, they're finding ways to win, and I credit a lot. It's the same. It's not like they went out and got the fancy free agents. I credit a lot of what they did to coaching and Brian Daboll.
Yeah, and it's like it's the thing now. Like, if the Giants are within 7 points going in the fourth quarter, that other team that they're facing is in trouble. I saw it with Jacksonville when the Giants were down going in the fourth quarter there. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, yes, look, this is the Giants are going to come back and win this game because they're more down and dirty to go get this done than the Jacksonville Jaguars are on both sides of the ball there. So, yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, as long as that team's within 7 points, it's a winnable game still.
I think last year there was something, or maybe the year before with the Giants, that they had lost at one point they lost either 7 or 8 games by one possession. The total combined points was only 20 points, each of their 5 straight losses. It's like you said, though in the years past they'd lose those games. Now they're winning these games because it's just a complete opposite flip with what Brian Daboll's bringing to this team. And guys want to play for this team. We saw it in the past. Guys just didn't want to play for the coaching staff that it was there. It was just in the player personnel. And maybe, look, do you go year to year with Daniel Jones now? Do you sign him to a couple years? I mean, have I fully turned the corner on him? No, but he's managing the game. And I think you got to give credit to Dable and his staff for what he's doing with Daniel Jones and maybe realizing what his limitations are and not asking him to do too much.
That was going to be my next question to you, Jim, is what do they do with Daniel Jones? I think they declined his 5th-year option so, I mean, he's kind of like a free agent, I guess it would be a free agent after this year. Do you try to convince him to maybe sign a 2 to 3 year team friendly deal? I don't think he's going to get a whole lot of money on the market, because he's had troubles before. And one thing he's not doing is turning the ball over at an alarming rate like he used to. The fumbles aren't there. The interceptions aren't there. He's taking care of the ball, most importantly, and being that quote unquote game manager. But what do you do with the guy that's, allegedly going to be a free agent? I mean, and you're not going to probably have a high draft pick to go get a guy.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to either have to look to see, what's later on in the draft. There'll probably be some guys out there, that aren't high, on the board, like top picks for quarterbacks. Or do you trade in to get a guy that you see that you like? Or like you said, do you give him a couple of year extension and be like, look, we like what you bring. Maybe you can prove it again. Go prove it again to see this isn't just a fluke year where you finally put everything together. Because I believe, maybe if Dable's there, look what he did with Josh Allen. I would love to see what Daniel Jones does looking throwing a football if they had a receiver. He's done most of it with his legs.
Yeah.
And it's great to see. But I would love to see what he does throwing the football. Maybe they get a wide receiver or something. His stats go up, but he does, have, he's looking good with his numbers right now. managing the game well. And I think that's all they're asking right now for him to do. They're managing his limitations, and they're just saying, hey, go manage the game, keep us close, and we have the defense to keep us within range and march us down the field when we need to drive. And they've been doing it.
Isn't that somewhat? You just mentioned the key fact there is someone similar that Dable's working with. He has the Josh Allen mentality going into play. He's like, if I can't beat you through the air, well, I'm just going to run you down and beat you through the ground as well. So maybe that is a key. It's a whole new mindset coming into play, more confidence from a coach, unlike last year with Joe Judge. Coming into play, like just a whole new mentality for him. Yes, he's not passing the ball, but we all know he doesn't really have anybody to throw to. So, but like, why not have that Josh Allen kind of mentality come into play of we're going to beat you on the ground and in the air, or one of the two at least each game, and still keep things close. I think that's a perfect example on that. Because I've seen Josh Allen do that right now. He did that against Baltimore. He couldn't get stuff done through the air. So what does he do? He bullies them all the way through on the ground for that second half win.
Yeah, eventually they're going to have to throw the football, and his numbers have to be a little bit better through the air than they are running the ball. I mean, him and Saquon can't be one. I mean, if Saquon's one and he's two, I'm fine with that. But sometimes it's Daniel Jones is one running the football. He can't always be your leading rusher. But it's working right now, and that's what matters. And the Giants are winning, and I'm 6-1 now. And who would have expected that? I mean, who would have expected both the Giants and Jets to have similar records after 6 weeks? I mean, it's ridiculous.
I was just gonna say, Nick, if I would have told you before the season that the only thing stopping the 6-1 Giants or whatever right now from being first place in the division is a 6-0 Eagles team.
I'm about to ask you who your weed man was. I mean,
that's insane. The only team that's actually stopping the Giants at the moment is the Eagles of getting that top spot there. Who's performing, of course, spectacularly as well. Has to buy this week. So, but hey, let's talk. Go ahead, Nick.
Too quick to your point there. I mean, add Seattle in that, right? Like Seattle's the teams that. The Giants, the Jets, the Seahawks, I probably would have told you those are probably three worst teams going into the year. And here they are. Seahawks are first in their division. The Jets are right, got two, a winning record. The Giants only have one loss. Jim, I mean, we talked about Daniel Jones's contract, but more importantly, what do they do with Saquon? He's a unrestricted free agent. After this year, I mean, that's the guy that I feel like the way they're playing him is they got to pay him like Derrick Henry type money, right? Like, I mean, do you give the bank to Saquon?
You know what? At this point, I think you might have to if you're going to keep him around and you see him as a part of your future at running back. I mean, when he's healthy, he's one of the best backs in the league, clearly. I mean, he can run the football, and he's playing smart football. He's just going to the hole, driving the ball. He's going north-south. He's not looking east-west. He's not dipsy doing. Dable drove it into him. You hit the hole, you hit it hard, and then you use your breakaway speed to get the extra yards. And that's what he's done. And even out of the backfield, catching the football, it's been great. I'm loving what they're doing. And, it all depends, again, how much you want to pay him. What's the contract? Is it year to year? Because somebody's going to pay him if he's going to do this. So maybe you keep him around, especially the way they're performing and the way they're using them. I would love it if they keep it. And again, right now, I mean, early line has Seattle favor -3. I mean, it's pretty much the home field advantage for Seattle. But I mean, give me the Giants +3 right now.
I'd probably have to take that as well. I mean, how about two redemption stories? That's the redemption game. Geno Smith, who's on a redemption story, and then Daniel Jones, who's on his own redemption. And then you add in Saquon Barkley, who's kind of getting redemption there too. I feel like at the end of that game, it'll be like an Anchorman where we spell redemption RON. So I kind of feel like that at the end of that game, we're either going to spell redemption GENO or JONES. Like how are you going to spell redemption?
Well, that game's going to be interesting too because you may not have DK Metcalf. Granted, DK thinks he's practicing Wednesday, but we'll see exactly what happens coming later this week on that side, but that's still a big target that Geno will be missing. but it doesn't seem like it matters for him. They have Kenneth Walker shoving it up the middle, running like it's no other for a rookie who's been outstanding the last few games. And now Gino, who's been actually pretty great about not turning the ball over, and he's making great plays down the field. I don't know, man. Like even if DK's out, that's such a tough game to bet on.
I feel like both those teams want to play the same way. They want it to be close, so they're not asking their quarterback to spread the ball all over the field and get behind. Keep it close, run the football with those two good running backs. Kenneth Walker looks like he's freaking Marshawn Lynch out there.
Right?
I mean, it's Beast Mode Jr. And I mean, he's built like that. He's a huge beast. That's an exciting game. Instead, they'll probably put the Broncos on primetime, and we'll miss out on Seattle and the Giants because nobody thought they were going to be any good.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, look, Kenneth Walker was a beast at Michigan State. At one point, he was in the running for the Heisman Trophy. Just the way he performs. I mean, look, the Giants have their hands full, but we see what that defense can do against top running backs in the league. They can hold them down. So, I mean, I expect the Giants defense to come up big again like they've always done. I mean, that's what they're doing. They win the games in the trenches, and I expect this game to be won in the trenches again.
Yeah, I fully agree with you there. Hey, let's talk real quick about the South here. The South, NFC South right now, Tampa Bay leads it despite a 3-game losing streak, coming into play. Horrible losing streak, by the way, to Pittsburgh and then to Carolina last week. New Orleans Saints rounds out the bottom of this division here, and the Falcons somehow are still in play. Same with Carolina. This whole division is still wide open for as horrible as it is. I want to know first, is this the worst division of football?
Record wise,
it's pretty bad too.
But the NFC West is bad record wise, but
but not as bad as this.
Not as bad as this. And you look at the Rams, and you're like, hey, they'll. I don't know. I just feel like they'll eventually get it right. Or even Arizona, they got D-Hop back. There's some promise there, right? Like, Seattle is surprising, but the Bucs look. I mean, the Bucs look bad. Just their offense looks.
It's all up here for TB12. It's all up here right now.
So do you put it on TB12 though, or are you putting it on maybe just the team as a whole? Or are you playing on Todd Bowles maybe?
I think I put it on Bowles. I think I put it on everybody. I think everybody in this situation's got to look at the mirror. I think, to be honest, Brady should have stayed retired. As much as we love seeing him play, I think he should have just stayed retired. He made the
wife thinks so too.
After Evans dropped that wide open pass that should have been a touchdown yesterday versus Carolina, he was probably thinking like, I could have done that at home. Not Madden.
That's how bad. But that's the story of the Bucs, though, right, Jim? Like just the missed opportunities. Sometimes their offense, like they have these weapons, it's just not going. You see Brady yelling at the offensive line. A lot of people are what happened there? What are we? We're all off screen. We're at the bottom. I'm confused.
We're at the bottom, man. Nick's the pumpkin.
Nick's the pumpkin, everybody.
It confused me. I mean, that's just what's going on there with the Bucs. Like what? Like I think it's because Brady wasn't there in the offseason, getting those reps, getting those things. Maybe the second half they'll turn it on, but he's skipping practices and walkthroughs to go to Kraft's wedding. Either you're in or you're out, Tom. You got to be all the way in, and I don't think he's all the way in. I think he thought he could come halfway in, and is realizing he can't be halfway in.
Yeah, you can't be halfway in. You have to be all in. All these great players are either all in or they're not in at all. You see it with everybody has that mentality. You know there's some stuff personally going on with him. You could clearly see he took some time off during training camp to handle whatever he was handling. But you could see the way he's talking. Yeah, I understand there's a lot of bad football right now. I get it, Tom. I really do. But you know what? There's also a lot of good football happening. And Tampa's, he's missing targets. Yes, guys are dropping footballs. But again, like you said, Nick, it's the reps. You got to have those reps. He was all about reps in the offseason when he was with New England, early on with Tampa, doing these sessions with guys, outside of practice, a lot of
breaking into people's homes. Yeah,
exactly. A lot of that stuff's going by the wayside right now. And you could clearly see it's affecting his play on the field.
Oh, big time. Real quick before we touch AFC here, how about the North? Like the Vikings sitting there, of course, by themselves, but like a Bears win here ties it with the Packers.
We would
And
own the
granted,
tiebreaker.
You still own the tiebreaker, luckily, but you're tied with the Bears.
I mean, the Packers suck. The Bears suck. Lions suck. And Minnesota, I mean, they're the best team in the division, man. I mean, they got
the most explosive players. Let's be real. Minnesota has extreme explosiveness that they need to learn how to use correctly.
Well, it looks like they're using it correctly. You don't ever trust. I don't think nobody trusts them because who their quarterback is. You know, I mean, if I said this guy, if their quarterback wasn't Kirk Cousins, and even if it was Geno Smith, right, we'd be like, man, Geno's got it together. But we're not saying that about Kirk Cousins because we don't believe in him, and he's given us good reasons not to believe in him. I mean. Because during prime time when the lights are the brightest, he's going to do something, or even if it's not on him, that team will fumble it on the bright lights and it'll get blamed on him. That's what happens to me on Minnesota. Like, we just don't believe them because who their quarterback is. If you switch out a different quarterback, we're probably pumping them up. We're over here pumping up the Giants. They have the same record as Minnesota, but because we're like, man, Daniel Jones is playing. He's a game manager. He's doing well. But Minnesota's they got more talent. And we're just, you know what I mean? Like I think it's because of who their quarterback is.
I don't think anybody believes in Kirk Cousins. They never did, even when he was in Washington. But he's got the soundbite. You like that? And that's what he's doing right now in Minnesota. They're winning games, man. Yeah. That's all they're doing is winning games.
It ain't pretty.
But the Giants' wins aren't pretty.
Yeah, when you have Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook, arguably the two – they're probably top 5 position player at their position. And then you add Adam Thielen on the other side, and you got Irv Smith. Like, that offense should be going.
Right.
So I'm gonna throw out you guys. I'm gonna play a little game real quick here with you. Then Kirk Cousins here. I just thought of it. Who would you rather have in Minnesota more than Kirk Cousins? Yay or nay? Matt Ryan.
Nay. You seen Matt Ryan? Yeah. Matt Ryan just got benched for Sam Ellinger today
on his hurt day.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill.
I actually might take Cousins, to be honest.
You would take Cousins?
Yeah.
Justin Fields.
For the season or for the future?
For the season. Like for right now on this Minnesota team.
I would almost take Fields because I'd like to see Fields with talent. Fields has no talent in Chicago. So you tell me you're giving him Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen.
Yeah, if you give me Fields with talent, because I know what Fields can do when he has talent in Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm going to take Fields. Sure. Like if you're putting Fields on Minnesota's team, I'm taking Fields over Kirk Cousins.
All right, that's what I had. I just had those guys there. I'm just curious to see where that level of Kirk Cousins was exactly going to be. Oh man, hey, I do got a trade proposal for you, or a guy that might be looking to move here to the Giants. Very well. Look out for Mecole Hardman, guys. Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver right now. Had a pretty big game yesterday. But I don't know if you noticed in that game when he did score the end around, there was only one person that came to celebrate with him in the end zone, and that was Patrick Mahomes. Nobody was near him for that celebration.
I mean,
are you reading too much into that? What's that about?
It actually kind of makes sense to me. So this guy, it's a contract year for Mecole, and the Chiefs are known for doing the right thing. They're looking to make a move somewhere, right, in their play. Well, the Giants, maybe a Kadarius Toney and a draft pick or something like that for Mecole. Mecole gets his payday with the Giants and becomes almost the number one receiver right away. In a way, so it helps Mecole out. The Chiefs are really good about helping their, players out, and they get something in return. I don't know. It's just a kind of thought that came through that.
It's not a bad. It's not a bad idea. It really isn't. Plus, you could throw Hardman in some like what they did the other day, throw him out of the backfield in that wildcat with the Giants like to run sometimes.
Might open it up a little bit.
I mean, it's not a bad idea. It's just what you're gonna have to give up.
Correct. Yeah.
And how much you're going to pay him.
Yeah, the money part's going to come into play. I mean,
Right, exactly.
I don't think the Chiefs are keeping him after that. So
No.
not at all. So let's talk East here real quick here. Bills on top, Jets above the Dolphins. Jets
Somehow.
continue to find ways to win. Again, not a pretty team here. They did lose Brees Hall, but today they got James Robinson to come into play with Michael Carter. But like, who is do we really think Michael Carter is that bad?
Something is going on. The Jets don't believe him to be their bell cow, right? Like that's what I read out of that was like, they drafted him last year, then they bring in Brees this year, and then they make this Brees gets hurt, and they make this trade for James Robinson. Like, to me, it's like, oh, they just don't trust him to either A, stay healthy, or B, to be the bell cow back. I like the move for the Jets. I like the move for the Jacksonville Jaguars, too, because they weren't using him as much as now it looks like ETN's fully healthy and ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. So I like the move for the Jets, too. I mean, surprisingly, again, another team similar like the Giants, they're rallying around the coach. They're playing good defense. Zach Wilson's looking like the guy everybody expected him to be coming out of BYU. Again, managing games, smart, and they're just winning ugly.
Yeah, that's all it is right there. Now, Tua's back. Dolphins did get the win last week here. Not should have been by more, but we'll take it as is. With Tua coming back, do we feel better about this Dolphins team should be back in that second place run?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think they'll be. I think they'll be just fine with Tua back.
Yeah, me too. They'll be fine with Tua back. They'll get the weapons going. They'll get the Alabama connection running again, and they'll be fine. I expect Miami to be back. I expect Miami to be near the top of the division again.
Okay. Yeah. See, I'm in the same boat. I just feel, they were banged up. There's a lot of things goes into play. I think they're back and rolling now. So, all right. How about the North here? Baltimore Ravens up top, Bengals right there. The Browns and the Steelers continue to downfall essentially right now after the Browns started so hot, and there are talks for Hunt coming into play. I know that. So we'll see if he's on the move here before that November 1st mark. But what do we think here? Is the Ravens really for real to take over this division? Because they've struggled lately. They lost to the Giants, right? Coming into play a couple weeks ago. They struggled a little bit last week here. Like, I don't know. What's our thoughts here on this Ravens team?
I mean, defensively, they have to learn to finish some games. They finally did this week. But to me, the team to look out right now for is Cincinnati, the Bengals. I think they're going to be the one to win this division again. Joe Burrow and company look like the Super Bowl team that they were last year after a slow start. Again, that offensive line has to get better for them. But to me, I think it's all about the Bengals in this division. I think Ravens may have a outside shot for a wild card as well, but imagine if the Ravens were able to finish some games defensively early in the season. Maybe they don't have 3 losses. Maybe they're ahead of the Bengals right now.
Right.
But
Bills, Giants. Isn't there? I think there was one more.
Yeah.
I think came to play. Right. All 3 of their losses were second half losses.
Exactly, and that's not a state.
And they almost gave it up yesterday too to the Browns.
Yeah.
I mean, Harbaugh has always been about strong defensive second half teams. That's a staple for the Ravens. So that has to get better if they're going to win a division. I
had the Bengals winning that division at the beginning of the year, and I still do. I think their offensive line looks like it's kind of, together and cohesiveness. And it took some time, but, we know they have the offensive weapons. As long as Joe Burrow can stay upright, it seems like, I kind of joked about how the Giants want to give it to Saquon and just keep giving it to him, or the Titans want to keep giving it to Derrick Henry. The Bengals plan is give it to Jamar Chase. We'll find a way to get him the ball, and he'll break one eventually. And, then here comes Tyler Boyd and Higgins and, Nixon in to chip in. That Bengals team is an absolute wagon. I think everybody's so hyped on the Bills that they're going to forget about my boy Joey B. And come the playoff time, the Bengals will be right there.
Yeah, that was a big uplift here on that last couple minute catch with Jamar Chase there, that 60-yarder to basically pull out that game last week, or yesterday. So I don't know. This Bengals team is starting to turn it around. I still think they found their 4-leaf clover underneath the couch somewhere. They got it back. So we'll see what happens there. All right, AFC South guys. God, another bad division.
Titans for me in this division. I think Vrabel's
Titans
got
have to
these
have
guys
it.
going.
Yeah, of course. And Mike Vrabel's he's like a dabble style, but it's also a former player, linebacker, and everything. And this guy is just, I don't know, he's just so dedicated. You can see the emotion in him every time you watch, the Titans play. And yeah, he's got this team going to a point. Their offense can't really move the ball much, but they're going, and they don't have to do much to win this division, honestly.
No, they don't. I mean, I think everybody expected Tennessee to win the division this year. Off to a slow start, but they've rattled up, I believe, 4 in a row now. And they look good. Derrick Henry, monster. Again, the Ryan Tannehill, can they get it done? Can he get it done? We'll see. With Malik Willis there, is this the final year for Ryan Tannehill, or does he get a couple of more years as Willis develops in that system? But again, Favorable, another guy you want to play for. So I like what they're doing.
Big time there. And then I don't know, any comments there, Nick?
Everybody else. Everybody else in that team sucks, or in that division sucks outside of Tennessee. Tennessee's the only team you can trust. Yeah. We just alluded to it. The Colts are in desperation mode. Frank Wright's in desperation mode to try to save his job. He's benching Matt Ryan for Sam Ehlinger. That was before the injury. Like they said, hey, we were making this move whether Ryan was 100% healthy or not. You seen the guy? And everybody was hyping up, Matt Ryan coming to the Colts. And Matt Ryan looks just old, bad, and he got old, bad, and fast real quick.
He did.
It seems like a decade ago that he was a MVP type caliber quarterback. It's time for Matt Ryan to retire. And I don't think Sam Ehlinger's not saving your season, folks. Ask the kids from Texas; they'll tell you.
That's so true.
And you look at Jacksonville. I mean, at the first 3 weeks of the season, we thought, hey, maybe they're a team.
It could have been.
But they're improving. They're better than what they were last year, but they're still, a couple years away from, being in a contention. This is the Titans division, unless just like something crazy happens, but I don't see any other team in that division winning it other than the Titans.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the AFC West, of course, the Chiefs led their big win against San Francisco in that second half there. And then following us, the Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders. The Raiders pulling out a win against Houston, luckily for them. And the Chargers losing again, looking really bad. Lost to Mike Williams, lost, I think, J.C. Jackson. They're again charging it out, getting injured left and right. And the Broncos, of course, had the week off as they announced, or no. Yeah, right? Broncos off? I can't remember.
No, they lost to the Jets.
Oh, that's right. It was like a week off. That's what it was.
No Russ Wilson. That's why.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Like that whole outside.
I need you went against your own Chiefs and picked the Chargers to win that division. Go ahead and defend that pick now.
Beforehand, they should. That's what the Chargers shouldn't have been this kind of team. They should have been a winning team.
They're always this team. They're always this team. They're always this team.
I had hope, but obviously not. And poor Rob out here messaged me last week after that horrible Monday night game, and he was like, "I quit." I go, "Pick another team for me, right, for the season." So I told him Carolina's his team. Made it worse. So I don't know. I don't see any surprises in the AFC West this year, depending injury, of course. So
that was supposed to be the best division in football. Remember that. Remember that too when we all talked about that. It just shows you that you can go get these shiny, fancy toys. But I said it all season, all off season. It's the Chiefs division until proven otherwise, and the Chiefs nobody's proven otherwise. So the Chiefs continue to look like an absolute wagon. Andy Reid can still draw up plays with the best of them. Patty Mahomes can still complete passes better than anybody. The Chiefs aren't going away anytime soon, folks.
No, Chiefs aren't going away anytime soon. The thing is with the Chiefs, I see it every week. teams have this team. They have the Chiefs down and out and never put their foot on the gas pedal to make sure the Chiefs never can come back in a game. But the Chiefs always find a way to come back in a game.
It's literally one of those things. Like, yeah, it's like we were down 17-0 or whatever to 49ers, and I was sitting there and I was like, well, it's only the second quarter, so we're waiting. The next thing you know, we're only down by 10. Next, then we're leading. And it's just one of those things that, like, I think Mahomes is like looking for motivation. And once he sees it, like we saw in the Raiders game, then it's game over. Then he's like, all right, well, now we're going to go down and score here. So, I think that's what he looks for. It's just some kind of challenge and motivation against some of these teams. It's so bad. It's so bad. Hey, we're going to bring in Jonathan here. Well, he is on early. Jonathan, dude, what's up?
Boy.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
What'd you do to your wrist, man? What's that, a hockey injury or something?
Hey, no, I smashed it when the Braves and the Saints were both losing. Was that the Andy Dalton second interception pick six that you smashed the hand on the table, or was that when the Braves got beat out? I missed it last week, so I didn't know if you had that injury last week.
No, man, hey, I understand. I know you missed it. I missed as well. What round did the Cubs make in the postseason?
Hey,
I missed that. I don't. We don't get Cubs games out here in Texas, so I mean, nobody really watches WGN anymore either. So I mean, what round did the Cubs get?
We made it. We made it real far in April.
April 15th really came quick for you guys, right? Was that what it is?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it did.
Wow.
Well, I actually got hit with a line drive this weekend coaching. One of my girls, she turned on a pitch really, really good, and it got me. So I not much I could do besides just try to get out of the way on that one, and I failed. So it got me pretty good.
Did you tell a good rip afterwards? Or
Well, no, because it was a foul ball. I yelled at her saying, we play inside the white lines. Put one in play.
Exactly. Oh, man. So very rare do we actually get Jim and Jonathan on at the same time. This is pretty cool. I know, Jim, you're up in the New Jersey, New York area. I guess real quick here, what's the feeling like? What's the atmosphere like after blowing that lead against Houston?
I mean, did they really have a chance against Houston?
No,
Let's be honest. I mean, as a Yankee fan, I'm going to be honest. I knew they were going to lose. I just didn't think it was going to be 4 games. I knew they were going to lose. But Aaron Boone, look, he needs to go as the Yankees manager, and I think Brian Cashman needs to follow suit too, because they have yet to address the issues of this team, which is pitching, and they need a shortstop, and their hitters just go clean. They just go cold in the postseason, and against Houston, they just can't seem to beat them. You saw it against Cleveland. It's just the analytics. Look, I don't want to get on a high horse about analytics and it ruins baseball and all this stuff, but he managed too much about analytics and not letting your guys go. I go back to game 3. You're paying Garrett Cole how much money? It's 2-0. You're taking him out, really? Come on. Boone, you're better than that. It's just, to me, changes need to happen, and it just epitomizes what the Yankee season is, a 4-game sweep against Houston.
And Jonathan and I, we talked about that last week about analytics versus, playing baseball, period.
Jonathan, what's your sentiments there? Sorry, Tanner. I just wanted to get Jonathan's thoughts because what Jim is saying is what I've heard a lot of Yankee fans say. We know Johnny Ortiz and Rob. They all said, "Hey, they all need to go. Get rid of them." I mean, personally, as a Cubs fan, I would be glad to get swept again in the CS championship. But I mean, the Astros are your daddy, Yankees. I mean, Jonathan, what's your thoughts there on what do the Yankees need to do to stop getting whooped by their daddy?
Well, I feel like they need to fire the architect and engineer of Yankee Stadium. They didn't put a roof on the stadium. Is that what Aaron they didn't put. There's no roof.
For the curse word, sorry, but it's so stupid. I mean, come on.
No,
it makes him sound like an idiot.
I heard that. I absolutely. I gave the most confused look, and Aaron Boone saying, "Well, we lost because the roof was open." I mean, I've never. That was the most nonsense thing I've ever heard. In regards of what we've said this before, I said this to numerous times. Think about this: how analytics has become so important in baseball. It's taken the power away of the managers. I mean, I know Hollywood really played out Moneyball, for the movie. But if y'all remember in the movie Moneyball, how often Billy Bean goes down into the clubhouse, goes down into the dugout and says, you need to play this guy. You need to play him. You need to play him. You need to play him. I want him in the lineup. I want him in the lineup. Analytics has taken the power away from the manager now. All right. So the lineup, I mean, yeah, it to an extent, Aaron Boone still writes the lineup out. But he's being fed information from the front office to say this is who you need to play, and his job is to write the lineup, not what he knows and what he feels based off of what the guys are doing. He has to write the lineup up based off what the numbers of the analytics offices are giving him, and every team in baseball has an analytical office now. So and I don't know the structure of the Yankees on who runs that, if it's Cashman or if it's somebody else, and who runs the analytical department of the Yankees. But they're the ones who are feeding the information to Boone to say, you got to play the lineup as such as this way. This is how you're going to win based off of the numbers that we have. So I understand the blame being thrown at Aaron Boone, and I get it. I mean, when he says and does things that you just scratch your head like he did, you have to sit there and say, yeah, we're going to blame you because we have to blame somebody. And, right now, based off what you're doing, your decision making, you're going to be the scapegoat of the what's going on and what's wrong with the Yankees right now. But it is a bigger picture than just Aaron Boone, and it's got. And I agree, it's the front office. Do you fire Brian Cashman, who's been there for God knows how long? I mean, does the Steinbrenner sons really pull that trigger? I don't know if they have it in them to really make that decision. If George was alive, that would have been done in a heartbeat, probably, because again, they've won another year without winning a World Series. George would have pulled that trigger in a heartbeat. I don't know.
George would have pulled the trigger last year.
They should have. I agree with you on that. They should have. I was shocked that Aaron Boone had a job for 2022. And I was shocked
that Cashman and Boone had a job for 2022.
I wasn't as shocked. I was surprised, but I would say I was surprised. I wasn't shocked that Cashman still had a job, but I was shocked that Aaron Boone still had a job because, again, you haven't progressed. As you said, you haven't progressed as a team. Sure, you won the division in the American League East. If I remember correctly, and I know I'm not all that old. I mean, I'm in my 30s, but I thought the standard of the Yankees was World Series, not just winning division titles. And so far, it seems like the standard of the Yankees over the last 5 years or so has been, well, at least we're in the playoffs. And and I know, and again, I'm not a Yankee fan. Never, I'm the biggest Yankee hater you'll ever meet. But in this instance of it, I know the people in the Bronx are sitting there saying, we don't want division titles. We want World Series. We want World Series championships. So I think there's going to be some changes. I mean, they're going to have to. You're going to have to make some changes. Something cannot continue. And the way that Aaron Boone made himself look like in the ALCS, I mean, he got lapped. He absolutely got lapped by the Astros. He got lapped by Dusty Baker, and that's going to be a problem in the Bronx.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you, man. I totally agree. It's not, and it shouldn't be. I saw headlines today too. Is it good enough now? Is good enough okay now by the Yankees? Because it seems like, okay, yeah, we got to another ALCS. Yeah, it's good enough. Okay. But it shouldn't be good enough. Even if everybody watched the Jeter, documentary ESPN, it's World Series or bust. George Steinbrenner's, it was everything was World Series or it was nothing. Like the Yankees, you expect to win championships. I know they haven't won one since 2009 and, all the core four and everybody, but there was a window for this team that was progressing the right way eventually, that this team was expected to win a World Series. I mean, I think everybody, the way they started this season, everybody's like, oh, yeah, best team since 98. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. But people expected this team to be in the World Series this year.
The window for, and this is my opinion, the window of championships for the Yankees was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It was 5 years ago because as you said, you haven't addressed the major issues. You haven't. You have a pitcher who's your ace. You're paying to be an ace who has been up and down. Aces are not up and down. All right, Garrett Cole needs to be the best pitcher in the league, and he hasn't been that. He's barely at times been the best pitcher on the Yankees. That's a problem. So they've played businessman instead of being a part of this, the sports, being a part of this what some could call the sports capital of the country in New York. That prints money and says we're getting the best players. Let's go. They haven't done that, and like I said, that their window of championship was 5 years ago, and depends on how decisions are being brought out this offseason. That window could be really shut closed.
Definitely, I agree for sure with that. No doubt. I mean, we'll see what happens, but it's going to be interesting World Series for sure. With that,
boys, let's flip to the winner here. And the Astros, is it a gentleman's sweep here? I mean, Astros and Phillies. And how the heck did the Phillies get here? Because at one time they fired their manager, and yet here they are in the World Series. I don't know if that's ever happened. So I mean, I think it's going to be a sweep of the Astros. The Astros haven't even lost a game. Are at least at best a gentleman's sweep. Jonathan, what's your thoughts here? Your initial thoughts? World Series Phillies and the Astros.
It's a dynamic. It's basically what we saw last year. We had the best team in the Houston Astros versus the hot team Atlanta Braves. You have the best team in the Houston Astros versus the hottest team in the Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, we've kind of seen this. This is the sport where the best team doesn't always win. Now, the Houston Astros, they're proving they're winning, and they're head and shoulders above everybody. The Philadelphia Phillies they're hot, and you've got a dangerous lineup. I mean, as much as it makes my skin crawl to say that about the Phillies, I hate them just as much as I hate all the northern teams, basically of the Northeast. They're all cut from the same cloth in my eyes. But you have a hitter who has been lights out hot in Kyle Schwarber. Bryce Harper has really dedicated himself to winning games instead of just saying, I'm the best player, I'm going to hit the best, I'm going to do this. He is doing everything he can to be a winner right now. So I respect what he's done by that mindset that he's absolutely adopted. And it's just taken him 10 years or so to do that now. But he's really grown and matured to where he wants to be a winner. And so he's showing it. And that team has just been absolutely lights out at times. I think what's going to hurt the Phillies is their defense. And you saw that at times against the Padres. Mm-hmm. They made a lot of defensive mistakes that should have cost them games in this series. I think the Padres series probably should have gone at least 6 games just because of the mistakes defensively they were making that the Padres didn't fully capitalize and really hold back the Phillies to do. If you make those mistakes against the Astros, you're not winning. That team is just they're good. They're fundamentally good. The Astros are, and they're going to take advantage of those mistakes. So if the Phillies make those defense mistakes, then it's the Astros series to win. If they can clean that up and just take care of the ball defensively, you're talking about maybe a long series. I'm not going to say sweep. I don't think a sweep. I think this could go 6. I think it can go 6. 6 games. But I think the Astros are going to take it. I think they are. I think they're just too good. They're too good. And as I said, they're fundamentally sound right now. They're playing good ball.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think at least to go 6 games. I love the way the Phillies are playing right now, red hot. I mean, look, I'm not a big fan of Philly sports teams either, being from New York area. So I'm not a fan of the Phillies, but they're playing hot. They're hot right now, and that's what all that matters in the playoffs. But Houston is definitely the best team from what I've seen, and I can attest to that, seeing that firsthand against the Yankees. I mean, Houston will capitalize on mistakes. You can't give them multiple outs in a game, in an inning. They'll make you pay for it every time. That lineup is so deadly. And a lot of the guys still there. Their pitching is really good too, bullpen-wise. And, I think Houston wins this thing. But, Philly's red hot right now. And, hopefully it's a good World Series. That's all I hope for, is a good World Series and, some close games. But to me, I just hope it's a good one. And Yeah, that's my thoughts on the World Series. Gentlemen, I got to run. Getting late, a little late for me.
You're good.
Got work in the
Hey.
morning, so I just want to say, just give my 2 cents on the World Series. Jonathan, it's great to talk to you, meet you, and guys, enjoy the rest of the show.
See you,
Hey,
Jim.
same here,
Thanks,
man.
man.
Hey, see you, Jim. Appreciate it.
Appreciate
it. Always. Take it easy.
See you, dude.
Later.
Hey, Jonathan,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry. I
No,
wanted
no,
to
go
follow
ahead,
up on Jonathan's answer. Hey, you alluded to Bryce Harper and the maturity. What has transformed that? I mean, because it seemed like he signed that big deal in Philadelphia, and just they weren't very good. And this year, it's finally put together here. Is it just the maturity? Like he's gotten older because he's still, I mean, one of the most talented players there is. That anytime he puts a uniform on. Or is it because, like, hey, through his whole life, he was told that he is the best player, so he just thought talent could win, and then realized, hey, maybe I'm talented, but I need to get that motivation, that work in.
Well, think about this. He signed the deal with Philadelphia. What happened the next year?
They were dead last? Or
Who won the World Series?
Philadelphia.
Oh, the Nationals did. The Nationals did.
Yeah, that's right.
So you leave. You're the best player. You leave your team, and they win a World Series without you. That humbles you. That humbles you, and that's something that Bryce Harper, he needed. I'm sure he needed that humility to be like, man, like I was the one who was carrying this team, and they still won without me. So what do I need to do now that I'm in Philadelphia and I am still the best player on this team, but what do I need to do to get to that level? Maybe do more than just be the best player. How about be the best team leader? How about be the best, the rah-rah guy that I could be? And then getting hurt this year had him sit back for a little bit and really reassess things. And it does. Injuries, it makes you reassess, where your place is on a team, and it makes you really kind of, realize what do you want to do this season to be? When you get back, and he did get back, how do you want the season to be? Well, I need to make sure we get to win. My legacy is tied to winning. My legacy at the end of the day, if you're Bryce Harper, and you were the golden child of the draft when you were the number one pick, your legacy needs to be tied to winning. And right now, you're kind of seeing that a little bit like Mike Trout. Mike Trout is not tied to winning because of the team that he's playing on. He's tied as the best player, but doesn't it almost seem like Mike Trout at times is being forgotten about?
Yep.
Winning makes
even on his own team. Even on his own team.
Yes. Winning makes you remember. Your legacy is tied to winning. Ken Griffey Jr., and I love Ken Griffey Jr., he's considered one of the best baseball players of our generation, top player of all time. But he's never been considered the best because he's never tied to winning. And if your legacy is wanting to be one of the best ball players of your generation, and so you have to win. So for Harper, I feel like the maturity of what he needed, because his legacy was tied to what happened to the Nationals the year after he leaves them. They won a World Series without him. So I feel like it's more than just maturity at times, especially for this season alone. And what he's running, I think we're starting to see the full, complete set of what Bryce Harper needed to be to have his legacy considered one of the best players of the generation, and as well because he was going to be forgotten about if he didn't win. And that is my opinion on that, because just again, he didn't win a World Series with the Nationals; they won without him. And he goes to Philadelphia, and they're not winning. What's his legacy now? And I think that does. Players think about that at times. I mean, not during the season as much. That's usually during the offseason when you guys think about what mark do I want to leave? And that's something that I'm sure has been in his head, especially once he got hurt and he had a lot of time to sit and think, how do I want this season to be? How do I want my legacy to be attached to this season and then my career moving forward?
That's fair. That's a very fair point into that. I never thought about it that way of, Bryce Harper leaving, World Series next year. And then I guess it's kind of almost 360 for him, essentially. The lows and now the high for the moment. So, it's only good. I think it's awesome to make it, but it's probably ecstatic to win it. It brings you up that next level going into play for, that kind of legacy too.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, he's changing the rhetoric of his legacy and of his career. Now, being able to get there and doing what he's done, and he's been the best player on the. I know you could argue with Kyle Schwarber what he's been able to be for the team in the postseason, but Bryce Harper has been the best hitter on that team right now, and being the most consistent and being the NLCS MVP. It's really changed the rhetoric of Bryce Harper right now in his career, and that's something for what his career has been for the last almost 10 years, I guess 10 years now, or almost 10 years of what he's been able to accomplish. And now we're starting to sit there and put him at that top tier of of this generation type of ball players. Just getting to the World Series has really done that.
No, yeah, you're right.
What's the key here for for both teams here? The Phillies, I like a lot of their guys. Obviously, some former Cubs, Kyle Schwarber, Cub. I've always loved Nick Castellanos, who had a cup of coffee in Chicago as well. JT Remunto. Like the Phillies, it's not like the Phillies can't hit here with the Astros. But what's the key for the Phillies to me would be one of the best, deepest playoff runs. Greatest runs of all time, I think, because of who they beat, right? Like they beat the Braves, they fired their manager halfway here. This is like an almost improbable type run. I guess the Nationals, they had that type of run a couple years ago, but they didn't fire their coach. They just weathered the storm. But here they are in the World Series. What's the keys for the Phillies, and then what's the keys for the Astros here as well?
For the Phillies, and kind of like I said, they got to take care of the ball defensively. I mean, you're going to have a team that just lives off of mistakes by their opponents. We saw that in the Mariners series with the Astros. We saw that with the Yankees. Last night's game game 4 for that the double play ball that Gleyber Torres threw right by IFK, and all of a sudden, runs galore started happening. The momentum shifted on the Astros, and they put runs across the board, and they took advantage. You have a team that knows how to take advantage of defensive mistakes. So the Phillies, who showed a lot of defensive mistakes against the Padres, they have to take care of the ball. If they can do that, you neutralize a lot of the momentum that Houston's going to create. And if they can do that, they have a shot because they can score. The Philadelphia Phillies show they can score. They can hit. And that's going to be it's going to be a very interesting dynamic. One thing I'm intrigued about is how the postseason will play out for both these teams. They're very good hitting teams. They can hit for power. You have hitters, Schwarber, Harper on one side with Real Muto, Hoskins, and then the other side is Altuve, Alvarez, Bregman, Gurriel. They're all good hitters on that side. So you have a lot of similarities of what they are by how the Phillies scored runs this postseason. They were taking base hits against the Braves, and then they finally got power when they went back to Philadelphia. But they scored a lot of their runs on base hits. Astros, one of the lowest strikeout teams in baseball with a high contact rate throughout the season and the postseason. They get base hits and they pick their moments to show the power. So the dynamic of offense is what we've seen in Major League Baseball for so long. This series is going to shift that a little bit to say hitters are going to hit, base hits are going to be at a premium, and then we'll get our power hitters going too, and then they'll drive the ball out the stadium. It's definitely going to make it a very intriguing for someone who wants to watch hitting and enjoys watching hitting. The dynamic is going to be very interesting for this series here. But for the Phillies, the key in it, you got to take care of the ball. You just got to take care of the ball. You cannot give the Astros opportunities to create momentum, put runs across the board when they give them the opportunity to do so.
Do you expect this series to be high scoring? Like we're talking, I'm saying like more than 5 each team, throughout the series.
I think you'll have moments. I mean, again, it depends on just how much momentum plays a factor in this series. I mean, again, if game 1 Philadelphia jumps up ahead early and they get 3-4 runs in the first 2 or 3 innings, yeah, you're going to see a high scoring game because again the Astros are not going to they're not going to lay down. They're going to hit. They're going to find ways to score runs too. So I mean, you could see this series being that. and you'll have a moment or two where this series will be a 2-1 ball game, 3-1 ball game as well. I mean, just the pitching on both sides. Again, kind of what we saw. I'm not trying to bring it up just because it was my Braves, but kind of what we saw last year. Like it's a very similar series that the Braves were last year, that the Phillies are this year, and the Astros team that was last year, what they are this year. It's very similar to what we saw. So we had moments where we saw low scoring, in the World Series last year, and then we saw where it was a 6-run output, a 7-run output by that was shown as well. So you're going to have a moment where the game is 7-4, 7-5 type of scoring, and you'll have a game that's probably a 3-1 or 2-0, or 2-1 ball game.
Fair enough. Okay, I'm okay with that. We did have a comment here. Alan, one of our Texas guys, says thoughts on Bruce Bochy.
I loved it. I love that. Yeah. I mean, it's
or Bach, I guess. What?
It's Bruce Bochy.
Bruce Bochy.
Bochy.
Yes,
Bochy.
I'll say this and take away what happened to the Mets as far as the result of the season itself, but the fanfare of Buck Showalter being in New York and what that kind of did, as far as the excitement of the team. Bruce Bochy to Texas is the similar way. You have a winning manager. Buck Showalter is a winning manager now, and then and what he's in his experiences and what he brought to the Mets. Bochy is more because he's got 3 World Series titles, and you bring somebody with that level of experience and that level of knowledge and that ability to potentially turn a franchise around to what this team needs. I love it. I think this is a great hire for the Rangers. I think it won't if they give him time. And that's the issue right now with the Rangers is they don't give time to the managers to really implement what they need to do. Jeff Bannister didn't get that much time. He got time, but they were beginning the rebuild, and they just said, well, we're going to move on from Jeff Bannister. And now we were in the rebuild with Scott Woodward for the Rangers, and he wasn't going to get the time as well because they knew they weren't going to win. So if they give Bochy time to really get these guys developed, the young players developed in the Rangers system, they give them time to really implement major leaguers that are there, like Sager and Simeon, Adolis Garcia. They give those guys those chances to really develop and continue moving forward. That could really be a game changer for the Rangers is hiring Bruce Bochy. I like it. He just needs to get more than 3 years to really implement what he needs to do.
With his record and his reputation, they definitely should, you know what I mean? Unless it just goes super south, or you know what I mean? But because he's a World Series manager, you're just going to take some time.
Yeah, but it also falls in the front office. That you have to give him guys to where he can turn the team around. And then, again, they haven't done that. They haven't been able to get, besides this past offseason, bring in Sager and Simeon. They haven't really brought in a lot of quality players to really get moving in the right direction out of the rebuild. Like I said, Jeff Bannister was a great manager for the Rangers, and he was doing a lot of great work with them. Excuse me. It was the timing of they knew they were going to be in a rebuild because they wanted the new stadium. They wanted the new ballpark. So there was a matter of selling off players, cut the payroll down completely so that the value of the franchise can go up to where they can afford to get the new stadium, and then they can start really getting things going financially from there. So Jeff Bannister was just a timing issue, but he was a great manager for the Rangers. Scott Woodward did a lot of good things, but it was just the fact that they didn't have a lot of quality major leaguers on the team during his tenure, and now they're beginning to spend money. They're beginning to say the rebuild is ending. Now we're going to implement Bruce Bochy to take over and see how they do.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that beat my Royals in 2014. So,
no, Madison Bumgarner beat your Royals in 2014. To this day, that's still one of the craziest postseason performances I've ever seen of anybody.
That is no lie. That is no lie. Such a fact. him, his arm, and himself. That's it. That's all he needed.
And Bumgarner is paying the price for the rest of his career since then, though.
Yeah.
Worth it, I guess. He got a big money deal from the Diamondbacks. Just ain't never been quite the same, but
he's not been the same. He's not worth that big money. He's living happy and everything, but talking about legacies a little bit ago, his legacy's kind of dipped a little bit over the last few years of how he's performed.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true. Hey, I was going to ask you, Jonathan, because I saw the rumor mill out there. What do you think of this Ozzie Guillen rumor of coming back to the White Sox?
White Sox love bringing back their old managers, don't they?
He's the only manager that knows how to do the White Sox organization. That's what he said on TV.
I heard that. I actually did hear that rumor at one point. Have the White Sox not learned? They don't go back in time. You got to move forward.
Hey, they dropped off Tony La Russa at the nursing home and picked up Ozzie. They're picking up Ozzie Guillen. They're picking up Ozzie Guillen at the same nursing home they dropped Tony La Russa off at.
Ozzie didn't even like being in Chicago when he was managing them all those years ago. I mean, he was a great manager. He did a lot of great things, but that team was really good. But he didn't even like being the manager of the White Sox at the time. And you're going to go backwards now and say, we're going to bring Ozzie back?
Yes, he's the only guy that knows the organization. Only guy that knows how it ran.
Only
guy that will.
Only Ozzie could say that. That's the thing about it. Only Ozzie could actually say, I know how the White Sox the organization runs. Run. I mean, come on.
It blew my mind when I saw that headline pop up, and I'm like, "You're joking me right now. This isn't real."
I put zero stock in Ozzie Guillen being the manager of the Chicago White Sox in 2023. I think that was hilarious. I think Ozzie was doing exactly what Ozzie wanted to do, and that was just create a stir.
Yeah,
I mean, typical Ozzie Guillen to do it. But I have no stock whatsoever that he's going to be the manager of the White Sox in 2023.
That'd be pretty cool. Alan does say Texas. He said words that they're going after Carlos Rondon and possibly Mr. DeGrom himself.
Everybody's going to be going after DeGrom. There's not one team. If you want, not one team out there that's not going to try to.
The Royals are going to offer him $1, and that's about it. Don't worry, we'll be out of the race real quick.
They'll name a fountain after DeGrom if they if he comes to Kansas City.
There is a lot of rumors of DeGrom to Texas. That's been going on a lot throughout the season. It was during the season it was Atlanta, it was Texas being two options that they were looking at. Again, the Rangers they've cut payroll so much over the years. They have a lot of money. It's just a matter of do the owners want to spend it. And they showed it a little bit. They showed it a little bit, bringing in Sager and Semien. But I mean, if you're DeGrom, you want to play for a team that's already set to win right now. And the Rangers they're not there. And I know money talks in Major League Baseball with the players, and the MLB Players Union will make sure that he takes the highest amount of money. But at the end of the day, you want to win, and that's what the end of the day, and that's what he wants. He wants to go and chance and win. If that's with the Mets, he's gonna stay in the Mets. If it's Atlanta, maybe it's Atlanta. Yankees, I don't know. I mean, I don't. It's gonna be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what his market actually is going to be this offseason.
Who's
speaking of
with, anyways? Like, who's his agent?
I don't know who. I don't know who the agent is for DeGrom actually.
Speaking of money, does the price tag go down on Judge because he didn't have this great, postseason run? Like I've heard people say, "Oh, it hurts. It's going to hurt his stock because he didn't carry the Yankees, put the Yankees on his back, and lead them to the World Series." I don't buy any of that. I still feel like the man's going to get paid big time from somebody, possibly the Yankees or even the Mets. What's your thoughts there on Judge? I see you shaking your head like, those people are idiots for saying that.
Mike Trout got $400 million and he hadn't played in the postseason in 10 years.
Yep.
I mean,
amen to that.
I mean, come on. Judge pulled a historical season. Now, again, my thing, if I'm a general manager of a team, I'm looking at it and say, well, let's look. And I know a lot of these guys don't necessarily do this anymore. They look at the actual, the analytical stats of it. But I look and say, what is his historical trajectory? What is Aaron Judge's historical trajectory been? And it's been an upward climb. He can't duplicate what he did this year. I mean, if he does, he's going to put himself in a whole different stratosphere as a ball player in Major League Baseball history. So it's only going down from here, which, I mean, again, that's you take away 10 home runs and you take away probably 20 or 30 RBIs. He still has a historical season, just not to the level that we saw this year. But it's still a lesser amount of production than what 2022 is. So I'm looking at it and say is, how do we project him for the next 10 to 13 years or whatever what the going rate of years is on these contracts? And I would look at it in that aspect of saying, do we really want to pay $450 million to a guy who's going to be going downwards over his career? Because again, he has injury history. He has shown the times where he gets hurt. He didn't get hurt as much this year, so that's a good thing for him. But I would look at it and say, in essence, of the trajectory of his career from here on out. Now, to the question that you asked, is the postseason performance hurt him? No, it doesn't hurt him because, again, we all know, those who know the game of baseball, what you do during the regular season means absolutely nothing in the postseason anymore. All right, because it's based off 162 games of trajectory of what your stats are. The averages break down in 162 games, and you're playing only at this point. I guess the Yankees played.
Oh my Lord!
They played 9 games, 10 games, I guess what it was. So from 162 games average to 10 games, it's night and day difference as far as how you want to look at the averages for him. Did he perform? No, he didn't perform to the standard of what we all expected him to be, but at the same time, it's a whole different ballgame in the postseason. As I said, Trout hasn't been to the postseason in 10 years. He's still got $420 or $430 million. So does that mean that Judge is not worth $400 million or so because of 10 bad games? No. A team will still pay him $400, $430, $450 million. It's just a matter of which team's going to do it.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get his 5, but I think he's in the 4 range. Real quick here, DeGrom's with VC Sports Group. So other players represented by them is Chris Archer, Jake Bauer, Mookie Betts, Madison Bumgarner, are just a few that are represented by VC Sports Group. So just throwing that out there.
Is this 1985? Because the Bears are putting it on the Patriots.
Roquan Smith with a pick 6.
No, he didn't get a pick 6. It was just an interception.
Oh, did he get down? I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, but I mean, is this like 1985? Because the Bears are putting it on the Patriots. What year are we in?
This is
like
really
the Bears ain't looked this good all season.
No, they haven't scored this much points all season. Now they're taking it to Bill Belichick on primetime at home. Are you kidding me right now? I don't know. Maybe it's a little fire coming into play. So, well, Jonathan, is there any hope for your Saints sitting out last place?
I mean, there's hope because the Buccaneers are sucking too.
They're so bad.
I mean, I thought the Saints loss to the Panthers, week 2 was or week 3 was bad. I mean, Panthers were shutting out the Buccaneers until the 4th quarter.
Yeah, that was an 11-point favorite too coming into play.
So I mean, is there hope?
Lost.
I mean, is there hope? Yeah, we're 1 game back right now of first place in the NFC South. Is there hope that the team can actually play well enough to take it? That's a different conversation. I don't think there is. We're too injured, but we still don't have a quarterback right now with Jameis, I think Jameis is gonna make his return. We don't know how healthy he actually is and what he's gonna look like. We've seen the offense be one way with Jameis. We've seen the offense be one way with Andy Dalton. No, Michael Thomas probably still going to – I don't know if Thomas is going to play. Jarvis Landry is he going to play? That's a lot of weapons you're down on all of a sudden, which was one of the best receiving cores on paper, and it's now reduced to what we saw last year for the Saints. So I have no I won't say I have no hope. I have very little hope that the Saints are going to figure it out and play better to win the division. But the division is giving us a chance still.
Yeah, it's still wide open. I think to me, like, it's still the Bucs division, but I mean, the Bucs haven't looked any better than any one of these teams. To me, Atlanta at times has looked really good, but I mean, it's Atlanta. They're only throwing the ball like 10 times a game with Marcus Mariota. So it's, I mean, that, like you said, maybe Carolina figured it out. It was Matt Rule and Baker's problem and, Robbie Anderson, CMC, get down. And now they're going on a run with PJ Walker, baby. That just seems like
the pride of the XFL.
Yeah. Him and Taylor Heineke, baby. Taylor Heineke was in the XFL too.
Man, yeah, I don't know. I just it's really weird how the NFC South is shaping up right now. I said that there's only been, as of right now, there's only one clear cut winner, and that's Giselle Bundchen, because she's sitting back at home saying, "You should, you wanted to go play football, get your ass kicked. I'm sitting out here with my millions of dollars, and we're living pretty over here, while your offensive line can't block anybody for you."
After every sack and every tackle, she's texting Tom, "Hey, remember, you left this," while she sends a nude. "You left this for that. Remember that."
For every sack the offensive line lets on Tom Brady, she does a shot of champagne. So
how about when the wide receivers drop balls, especially that Mike Evans ball? That was
well, it's understandable because the referees were bugging him all game about getting autographs.
Yeah, I saw that.
God.
I can't believe that. Are you kidding me right now?
I mean, conspiracy theorists are so happy. The conspiracy theorists of the NFL are so happy to see that video, because that basically gives them every fuel to think that those referees are all wanting every piece of Tom Brady and now the Buccaneers, and it was that way of Tom Brady and the Patriots and everything. I mean, how dense could you be as a referee, knowing that you're in the stadium, so all eyes are still, even if you're in the tunnel, there's people inside the tunnel.
Cameras everywhere.
Yeah. And how dense could you be to flip over your card that you have as an official and give it to Mike Evans to sign? Are you serious?
They'll never ref a game in the NFL again.
Ever.
Like, that's just, I mean,
ever.
That's what it's got to be.
That's so bad. That's so sad. Is what
that was awful. That's the worst nightmare of the NFL right there. Was that?
I agree.
Hey, just imagine if Joe West, and that's just because, like, I can only think of Joe West and Angel Hernandez. Is it Hernandez? I could only imagine them going up to like Bryce or somebody like that and asking them to sign him. They probably don't do it, right? Or maybe they do so they can get the call the next time up to bat. But Angel's so blind, it wouldn't matter if it was straight down the middle anyway.
Angel would ask for an autograph on the field because he just doesn't care.
Exactly.
Angel would go walk over to first base and ask for Reese Hoskins' autograph right in front of on national TV. Angel,
and then call him out after he did it.
He'd pull a ball out of his pocket at first base in the middle of a play. "Hey, could you sign this for me?" But would it even be getting to the right player? You're not seeing things. Is he even talking to the right person? It's going to Schwarber asking for Harper's autograph. Like, come on, get out of here with that. Oh man, that's so great. I know it's so bad though when you see that kind of stuff. It just, there's conferences going on about that one.
Oh, there's more than just conferences.
They're doing a whole investigation.
There's more than just conferences going on right now. But
Lord mercy.
And I think the NFL's head's got to be exploding right now with all that. With that just happening, the Dan Snyder stuff going on and then you had Jerry Jones cussing out Robert Kraft. Over the last couple of weeks. I mean, the people in the NFL's heads got to be exploding right now.
Oh yeah, like what we consider corporate for them is probably, or an HR probably like, can we get a break? Can we have a slow day?
Hey, forget the break. I want a raise if I'm in HR of the NFL.
I just want to be one of their investigators that get to go investigate all this stuff for them, because I mean, that's what I want to do. Yeah.
I can see Nick doing that. Undercover, hiding in a locker.
Let me go investigate all this stuff here.
Right.
Waiting for that dirt to pop in.
I mean, some of their investigations that they have. Well, I remember the Kareem Hunt investigation. Like they had already concluded their Kareem Hunt investigation, right? Then the video pops out that shows him like kicking her while she's down, and with Ray Rice, like what the investigators couldn't find that. TMZ's finding this stuff, but the NFL, $1 billion industry can't find these videos. Like, what are they doing? Who are they hiring for these investigations? They need to be fired.
It makes zero sense
to
me.
What about with Dan Snyder hiring investigators to investigate the investigators?
Oh no, he was hiring investigators to investigate other owners to get dirt on them.
Well, that too. I mean, he was making sure that he had a team of investigators on the owners, and he had a team of investigators on the investigators to see what they were getting about him.
And then he hired another investigators to investigate the investigators that he hired to investigate. Hey, it's just on a witch hunt, man. That's just he's just trying to. Hey, kudos to Jim Irsay said, "Hey, go ahead and investigate me. I'll show you all the crack whores where all the bodies are hidden." That's
professional sports, the greatest reality TV of all time. I mean, that's just what it is at the end of the day. It's 24/7 reality TV.
Oh, that's what it is there. So, well, Jonathan, we're gonna let you go here, man. Appreciate you jumping on, talking a little everything with us again. So.
Absolutely, guys. I enjoy it always.
Hey, we'll see you, Jonathan. Hey, don't be busting your hand when the Saints are playing again. You only got one good left.
Hey, it's college football going on. We got LSU right now. Hey, the fighting Brian Kellys are showing it out right now.
They're what they beat Mississippi last week.
Beat Ole Miss. Beat
Ole Miss the week before.
Ole Miss, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So hey, respect Brian Kelly. Respect them.
Yeah, I mean, I keep betting on them, and they keep winning. So let's keep it going. That's what
yes, sir.
So awesome, Jonathan. We'll catch you next Monday, dude.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
See you, Jonathan.
Honestly, here I'm probably taking this thing here.
It's over. I'm calling it.
I don't think it's doing anything here, guys. So I don't know if you guys really want to finish. Make sure you guys tune in here. We will have the post-game show with Bill, the Man Cave Boys, and Connor, all on Let's Talk Sports here. So go check them out. They'll be breaking down the game and the disappointment of a Patriots win here. So, what's Alan say? Bama LSU this week? I totally missed that on this. I haven't broke down the schedule yet.
I don't really look at college football until I guess usually on Wednesdays. Yeah,
Wednesdays when I do it too because we do our sports bets during the Buffoon show. So my last bet last week was Oklahoma State money line. They took it to Texas, so they beat Texas last week. So I got that right. I got this wrong. I had New England covering +8. So
I did too.
With that.
I did too.
I even bet on it too. So
I almost did. I opened up the app and then I backed away from it. I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't want any part of this game. So
I had a feeling when I bet on it, I'm like, this is going to turn not my way at all. This is going to be a complete flop. And watch, you saw what happened here. So, that's the world of betting, right? That we live in. So we got the post-game show. Let's Talk Sports. Bill, Man Cave Boys, Connor. Directly after the game, so go tune in there. Hit that reminder on the Let's Talk Sports page as well. If you guys are watching this here, please leave a like, subscribe, follow. We got the Bodkins show. You can see that behind Nick. You got the Sports Buffoon. You can see it on my table. Whiskey Sports Podcast. You can go check that out. It's my channel as well. And of course, Let's Talk Sports, the Sports Network. Keep tons of content, tons of different takes. It's quite amazing the variety that's on there. So make sure you guys go like and check out another pick. Are you kidding me?
Don't matter who's out there, Zappy or Mac. Or did they bring Mac back in and he threw another interception?
No, I thought that was.
They look alike. I can't tell.
Hang on. I'm going to bring back up. Oh, I said stop presenting. Nope, that was zapping.
Oh man.
So it's bad. Nick, what do you got coming up here this week, man?
So Wednesday morning we'll do my weekly sports wrap-up show. Wednesday night that'll have we'll do our week 8 pick'em show where we break down every game and pick every game against the spread. And then we'll do our week 8 reaction show on Sunday. Plus, I'll be on Let's Talk Sports Sunday morning.
No head kickers or haymakers and head kickers?
You're right. We will have head kicks and haymakers set Sunday morning.
I always get it backwards.
Nah, it's all good.
I was wondering if you're going to have that. I bet on that last week. I won 2 out of 4. I can't remember the names I even chose, but
yeah, I was gonna. My parlay almost hit until the main event. I picked Charles Oliveira. I would have won pretty decent money had Charles won that fight because I called just the dog parlay, and Kenny calls it all dogs go to heaven parlay. So I didn't want to steal that, but that's what he calls his all dogs go to heaven parlay. And I kind of put a small one together, and had Charles won, I would have won big money. Unfortunately, Islam won and is the new lightweight champion. So I missed out big there.
Gotcha. Are you gonna have Kenny and Craig? Are they gonna be on Wednesday night?
Yeah, at least Kenny will be. Craig has got his work schedule shifted to Wednesdays, unfortunately. So
gotcha.
The boys will be joined. One of the boys will hopefully always be joining me. We usually try to work at least one of them. Sunday night was one of the first times we've had in a while where all 3 of us were on the same show. So
yeah, I was surprised.
we work it out. 3 dads, 3. We try to fix it all together. So, hey, what can you do?
Right. Good deal there. You guys can catch me on Whiskey Sports Podcast. I'll have my power ranking show drop Tuesday or Wednesday, or either on Wednesday or on Thursday. Check that out there. We'll break down the tiers. I might change it up instead of just doing like 32, 31. I might break it out into like Super Bowl contenders, then all the way down to duds, stuff like that. So we'll break it out on the tiers list here this week here, but I'll figure that out. Wednesday night, catch us on Sports Buffoons, 8 p.m. Central with Mike and JG. And then, of course, Thursday night, post-game, Let's Talk Sports after the Thursday night game with Smoking Jeremy B and Carlos, the Mad New Yorker. Sunday, pregame show with Mr. Bodkins here on there, along with Johnny Cruz coming to play. So, and hopefully, I know Dan, I think, is out the next couple weeks. So it'll be us 3 kicking it in and taking over. So, well, I'm going to call this, dude. It's a dud game. Not what I wanted. As soon as I can find my mouse. There we go. It's really slow today. I don't get it. So awesome. Well, Nick, appreciate you joining me here on another Buffoon and Bodkins. Everybody, we'll catch you next Monday night for the second half of next Monday's football game. See you guys.
See y'all.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Buffoons and Bodkins show. Make sure you hit that bell, subscribe, and follow for more content. Swing over to the Bodkins show, subscribe and follow for him. And then also swing over to Let's Talk Sports Network and go subscribe to him because it's phenomenal for what he does.